What's something you don't agree with but you understand why people think that way? I've been conservative, Catholic, pro-life, etc. Gay, trans, atheist, pro-choice, etc. So I kind of feel like I can understand most sides to things. Especially, I can't stand it when people are inconsistent. For example, if they support something because it's on their side when they would have condemned the same thing if it were on the other side. Or they condemn something on the other side that they would have excused if it happened on their side. I saw that default in myself in middle school and it really changed me in the way I looked at things. Not vaccinating your kids. I do sympathize with these parents. I understand the reason people don't vaccinate their children is because they are trying to protect them, and social media has done a great job of scaring people about vaccines. I'm a medical student and I realize I'm incredibly privileged to be in this position. Not everyone can receive a similar education. If I didn't have the kind of education to understand the science behind vaccines and know how to interpret studies, I would likely be scared, too, using drugs. Especially illegal drugs. Weed is illegal in my country. I guess my life has never been shitty enough to feel the need for medically adjusting how I feel, but I also know that I've lived a relatively privileged life thus far. So there are cases where I understand why other people resort to drugs, even if I'd never tried them myself. This applies to alcohol as well to a lesser extent. I'm not a teetotaler, but I just don't see the point of drinking alcohol most of the time. I'm a working mom, I hate that term. But I don't agree with the war between who is better. I am, do what's best for your family, type. I told my husband if we had more than one, I'm not going back to work. We are also a one-gun family. Few the comments I've gotten. I mean, I can see why people have more kids but I can see why people don't, or can't. It started off as we didn't want to, but now, for health reasons, pregnancy would not be my friend. Daily compounding interest on home and auto loans. It's a disgusting level of greed that fuels this mechanism. It's against God, usury is a sin, look it up. But many good Catholics are happy to issue these loans and benefit from them. There's no reason money should be so expensive, other than greed. I get it, it's all people know, it's all we've been taught or told. But it's fucking deplorable. And is a massive reason why the wealth gap is what it is. Abuse. I don't think abuse is something that's good and I believe it should be prosecuted, but I could get what leads people to abuse others, and for that reason, I don't really hate anyone matter what they do to me or anyone else. I understand that many different reasons can cause a person to treat others horribly, and I feel pity more than any sort of hate or wish of harm for those people. Abuse and bullying can start out as a sick joke that gets taken too far. Probably gonna get downvoted for this, but unwillingness to receive the COVID vaccine. I've gotten it in the boosters, but I think people being afraid of it due to lack of long-term research is valid. The way I see it, I have no clue how my body would react to COVID had I not been vaccinated, and I have no clue if there will be long-term consequences after taking such a new vaccine. You're taking your chances either way. That casual sex doesn't affect your mental health. I think it does because we are evolutionary meant to keep long committed relationships and our bodies naturally produce hormones that make us bond after sex. But I understand this isn't a common opinion and that the way our society is structured at the moment just pushes people into thinking such opinions are meant as an argument to shame someone. I'm a Christian but I totally get why people are turned off by it. Hell, it took me years to find my own singular sense of faith under the umbrella of Christianity. Some people who claim to be Christian are the worst possible examples of it. To be a Christian is to strive to be Christ-like. And Christ was loving, generous, non-conformist and non-judgment. Many missed the memo. Gun control. I have a close friend that is pro-2A, whereas I am anti. I can't see the aftermath photos for Uvalde, Sandy Hook, Las Vegas, and Columbine and still believe that they should be so accessible to people. But, I also understand the need for home defense as a woman who has a husband that travels for work often and works overnight. And, don't trust the government. Title or leashes. I abhorred it before I was a parent. Treat your kid like an animal? Borderline abuse. Then I had to take 2 toddlers through TSA alone with all my bags, their car seats, and a stroller watching them sprint through security checkpoints. Different kids are different, and safe is best, so I hesitate to judge now, cause I don't know that kid, smiley face. That crime can be prevented. Of course some can be with a better society, but most crime can only be stopped by the termination of the criminal at the time of the attempt in the crime. If you live somewhere where you are lucky enough to legally carry, do so and be responsible. but I understand how most people will find what I'm saying to be absurd. As an atheist, I understand why people like religion and are passionate about it. It gives you a perceived purpose, moral compass, and community. Sometimes being an atheist can be a little lonely honestly, because I'm completely lost on what my purpose is and not knowing so many things about the universe is scary. LOL, this is going to be such a pick-me answer, but I understand why people don't think the same as me. I have very weird thoughts and ways about considering things. Even when I think I'm saying something relatively non-weird, people give me the eyes. I'm Buddhist, so I do not believe in the death penalty, but I totally understand why people want to kill murderers and pedophiles. I understand the very human urge to seek revenge, but in my practice, I do not believe it will lead to ultimate peace. Antinatals. I wanted 8 or 6 kids, that was before I came back to live with my parents and my toddler brother. Holy fuck, now I think I'll stop at 2, maybe 3 if luck strikes and I am rich. So yeah, I do want kids, but understand people who don't. Veganism, I guess. I get the love for animals are the reason you do not eat meat. But I think we can love animals and eat meat. If I have animals on my farm, give them a good life and kill them in a humane way, I see nothing wrong with that. Why then my old friend group and my ex hate me? I know I did loads of shit and was a trash friend BF. But I don't agree with it now. I worked a lot on myself and people around me can tell I'm a much better person now, but they still hate me. I love being a dad. It's my favorite thing. I can understand why people are totally put off by the idea of having kids. They're expensive and time consuming. There can be some very long, tiring, and frustrating days as a parent. Zipper merging, especially if you saw a sign saying a lane was ending 1-2 a mile ago. I know it makes traffic flow better, but just letting someone cut in line seems like rewarding people for being a dick. Abortion, anti-abortion. I'm adamantly pro-choice, however I can see that if someone wholeheartedly believes that a fetus human, why they're so passionate and disturbed by the idea. It's a very gray area. Many conspiracy theories. I don't buy into any of them, but I imagine it's comforting to think everything in the world is controlled as opposed to knowing that random shit can just happen. Gun control. I only works in very specific circumstances, but doesn't work the vast majority of the time. Whether it is justified or necessary is a totally different question. Universal healthcare and education. I get it, and those industries define what need reform, but I don't think it's the right answer to just give government total control. There's been widespread election fraud in the United States. There actually hasn't, but a huge volume of media, both broadcast and social, perpetuates that narrative. I can somewhat understand the people who can strike up a conversation or even friendship with virtually anyone they meet, but I will never been able to do it. Being pro-life, it's so easy and straightforward to just think about saving babies if you don't engage in any of the complexities of the issue. Veganism. I understand the place of empathy for other living creatures. And I understand how horribly we treat animals in the meat industry. Flat Earth. Like George Carlin said, imagine how stupid the average person is, then realize half of all people are stupider than that. Holding conservative views. I can see why people are attached to their culture or religion, but it is not something I agree with it. First time I tried elk, the only thing in my mind was, oh, this is delicious, but I understand why someone would absolutely hate it. Wanting marriage, sex and kids. If makes you that happy, go for it. Just don't demand I join you, cause it's not my thing. Marriage is a scam. I understand where it comes from, but I don't agree. Marriage is a way to ensure everyone's rights. I love both dogs and cats, but if I had to choose one, it would be cats. I understand why some may choose dogs. People who are against abortion. Like they literally think it's killing babies. Of course they don't like it. I understand human beings are far from perfect, and that is something I never gave much thought about before. Too many things to mention. I am thankful and blessed to be able to see most points of view in an argument. I'm an atheist but see why people value religion. I've read some Buddhist texts and they're pretty cool. I don't agree with Maga, but I definitely understand why they think the way they do. Strange people bring strange problems with them, instead of new solutions. I'm a short man but I can see why women usually don't date short men. I'm a short man but I can see why women usually don't date short men. I'm a Christian but I see why people don't buy into Christianity.